Sonic Boom was the second episode of SatAM to ever be shown, and also the second episode in the suggested viewing order. But oddly enough, the preceding episodes in these two orders are actually different. Another odd thing is that despite being the second episode, I actually think the story to this episode fits better for a pilot. But I'll get more into that later in the review. Once again, we open with an overview of Robotropolis, which has a much more darker, less cartoonish look than it had in the pilot. We can also see that the SWAT bots talk more like emotionless robots. This gives the show a much more dystopian look and feel. Much better if you ask me. Sonic, Anton and a new character named Cat are sneaking around when suddenly a SWAT bot corners them. But it's okay because Sally is driving it. Where the heck did she learn how to drive one of those things? And for that matter, why do the SWAT bots need driving? Aren't they robots? Sally and Sonic set off to hack into one of the computers, while Anton and Cat keep watch. Because, you know, they really look like they're armed to defend themselves. While hacking into one of the computers, Sally comes across a message. Bean. Apparently, this was Sally's father's nickname for her when she was young. So now I guess he's using it as some form of code? But why only send her name? Who knows, but we'll get more into this later. Meanwhile, Anton and Cat's keeping watch appears to consist of them just standing in an open corridor. But at least they look like they're safe, until Anton leans against an air vent and blows their cover. Yeah, you'll quickly learn that Anton is pretty much worthless. He's basically this show's Jar Jar Binks. Cat, on the other hand, well, we'll get more into him later. Oh, don't worry, I have plenty to say about him. Sonic distracts the SWAT bot while the other three escape, but I guess Cat isn't as physically fit as the other two, as he gets left behind. After discovering he's missing, Sonic heads back to look for him, while Sally and Anton head for the dark swamp where the Bean message originated to look for Sally's father. Or as Sally puts it,
I'm going to the dark swamp and find him.
Meanwhile, Snively reports to Robotnik that they have captured a freedom fighter, Cat, and they begin interrogating him. Cat is apparently a pretty loyal freedom fighter and refuses to tell him anything. Sonic reaches Cat's cell by turning himself into a bandsaw. Cool, I didn't know he could do that. Sonic wants to break him out, but Cat tells him he has to go and save Sally. Apparently Robotnik's surveillance has picked her up. Man, Cat's acts of loyalty to the cause of the freedom fighters have to be some of the most commendable I've ever seen. But just wait, this is only the tip of the iceberg. Sally and Anton head for a prison in the middle of the swamp. Along the way, Sally rightfully ignores Anton's insistence that they go home. I don't know if the writers thought Anton's cowardly nature was good comic relief. It isn't, by the way. Or if he's just meant to come across as annoying. But either way, this character is by far the worst thing about this show. I hate every moment he is on screen, and he does nothing to help the freedom fighters. Why they keep taking him with them on their missions, I cannot think. Sonic follows their footprints to the prison, shaking a stealth bot tailing him along the way. Also, apparently he can fly now. They come across an old computer with another message from Sally's father. Bean. Check subta file impossible. He didn't finish it. Okay, quick question here. Why didn't Sally's father just send this message to the computer in Robotropolis, where he sent the Bean message, and save Sally the trouble of going out to the swamp? More secure, I guess? Anyway, Sally mentions that she knows her father is alive. I don't see how, since she doesn't know when the message was sent, but this is a really good setup for the story arc with Sally's father and the idea that he could be alive. That hope Sally constantly clings to is almost more frustrating than if she knew her father was definitely dead. If that were the case, she could just try and forget about him and move on. But with that small element of hope, she is forced to keep hoping and keep looking. I'm not sure if they really did anything particularly interesting with this story arc over the course of the series, but the way it's set up here is brilliant. The subta file turns out to be a map of the tunnels under Robotropolis. Suddenly, the three of them fall through a trapdoor into a sewer. You'd think at this point Sally and Anton might want to ask Sonic why Cat isn't with him, but I guess he's not important to them. After a brief attack from a one-eyed monster that Sonic somehow knew was a robot, don't ask, they use the tunnel map to find their way out. They make it back to the stealth bot hangar bay, and Sally is able to shut them all down. Sonic heads back to Cat's cell, but it seems he's already been sent off to his death. Damn. I mean, damn. So Cat sent Sonic away, probably knowing he wouldn't be able to get back in time to save him. This guy was a fucking saint. As the three of them leave, Sonic is able to trick Robotnik into blowing up his own stealth bots. and dedicates this act to his late friend. Like I said, Sonic Boom works well as an introduction to the show. It shows a typical freedom fighter mission, and is a good introduction to the kinds of things Sonic and Sally try to do. It also introduces us to Sally's computer, Nicole, who for most of the series was nothing more than a plot device to get us the necessary information. In comparison to the rest of the series though, the mission in this episode was very basic. Aside from that one bit with the message from Sally's father, nothing particularly interesting happens along the way. So while it's a good introduction, it doesn't really have much of a rewatch value. There is also the fact that Anton plays a fairly large role, never a good thing, and the fact that they introduce a new character here, only to kill him off in the same episode. Why? Why do that? Especially when he seemed like such a great character. He sacrificed himself to allow Sonic to help Sally. A character with that kind of loyalty is one I would have loved to have seen a bit more of, but instead you give us annoying and pointless characters more of a focus. Just for that, and the primitive form of plot we get here, I can only give this episode a 5 out of 10.